Reimagining Success, Episode 41. You're listening to Reimagining Success, the podcast where we help you reimagine your future, designing a life and career beyond the 9 to 5 that allows you the freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment that you've been dreaming of. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg. Now, let's get started on those dreams. Hello there, and welcome back to the Reimagining Success podcast. And this week we are talking procrastination. Now, we have all been there. We have vowed to start that diet tomorrow and then continue to chow down on a salted caramel brownie or maybe a cinnamon bun in my case. No, just me. Or pronounce that we want to go back to the gym. Next week we'll go. And then the rest of this week just vegged out on the couch watching Netflix. So in the same way, you may have told yourself that you'll think about starting that business and quitting your job next year. And it's really easy to commit to something that you think you want, but how on earth do you stop procrastinating and finally start taking action and make that big change once and for all? So first of all, I want to consider what procrastination looks like when it comes to a big career change. Now, do any of these scenarios sound familiar? First, you tell yourself, I'll do it when... Now fill in the blank. I've got my next promotion, I get that salary increase, I've saved more money, I've had children, my children have grown up, and so on. And in the meantime, you do very little, if anything, to change your situation because you're waiting for this moment in time to come. Or you launch into planning, really conscientiously evaluating the pros, the cons, you make lists, you look for more and more complete information, and then you end up getting stuck there in so-called analysis paralysis, and again, don't really do anything about it. Or maybe you commit to this time being different, just like that gym, that diet, and you'll definitely do something to change your situation, and then nothing happens. And the next morning you just wake up and you still haven't done anything, or next week, or maybe you have a burst of action and then activity and then nothing happens again. And finally, you're taking action maybe, and that sounds great. You're sort of fooling yourself into thinking that you're not procrastinating, but actually you're doing it in a very haphazard and scattergun way. So you're keeping really busy, but you're not really making any real progress in one specific direction. That's also a form of procrastination, really. And clearly, any and all of these scenarios, if any of those sound familiar, or maybe more than one, I've certainly been a culprit in many of these scenarios, if not all, both because you want to be, or you won't be making any progress as a result, and you'll be staying stuck where you are. And there's that massive disconnect that I've talked about before between where you are and where you want to be. And that's really painful. You know, you want to be all the way over there and you're not doing anything to take any steps forward. Or maybe you take a little step forward and then 2 steps back. And also because you're effectively lying to yourself to the point that you, at least subconsciously, stop believing that you'll do anything different. So you're totally sort of betraying your own trust, and you're losing that trust with yourself for the future, which can be, debilitating and can really ruin your future attempts at achieving goals, because you know what I always say, I'm going to do this, I never will, so you don't bother. And again, this is probably subconscious, but certainly I've had that in the past too. And that really creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of not doing anything and therefore not getting any results. So let's look at what's going on when you procrastinate. Well, whatever of those forms it takes, whether it's I'll do it when, or it's the analysis paralysis, or the haphazard action, procrastination, I feel like, has almost become an acceptable excuse. Anyone will say, oh yeah, I'm procrastinating, and that's just sort of it. You sort of sweep it under the carpet, you go, oh, fair enough, procrastination, boom, that explains it, and you move on. As if putting a label on it gives some kind of justification for why you haven't done anything. But really that label and the excuse is hiding all manner of sins. Because procrastination might mean that, for example, you don't know what you want. And because of that, you're not genuinely motivated to take action. So you may think that you're motivated, you're committed, but actually you haven't really thought through, what am I working towards? Why is it so important to me? Why is this something I'm really going to sacrifice other things, my time with my partner maybe, stay up late in the evenings, work really hard, invest time and energy in this. Why am I going to do that? If you don't know the answer to that, then you really aren't that committed, and it's going to be very easy to procrastinate and just put that off indefinitely. Or maybe you secretly don't want to take action. Again, this is subconscious, and you're sort of self-sabotaging because of one or more of those fears that we've been talking about in the last few weeks. We talked about the fear of failure, the fear of the grass not always being greener on the other side, perhaps, the fear of having to work really, really hard, and so on. The fear of starting from scratch as well. Or maybe, and this again was definitely me back in the day, you're relying on your rational mind to make a decision that ultimately needs to be made with your gut or your heart, your intuition, whatever you want to call it. It's not a decision that can be made just by looking at the pros and cons. Again, back in 2013 when I left my job, that was one of the first and almost only massive decisions I made with my own intuition. I thought sensibly, sort of rationally, it wasn't the right thing to do, but deep in my heart I knew it was something I had to do, and it is the best decision I've ever made in my life. So even if you're like me, one of those super rational people, growing up in a sort of a rational education and society and so on, believe me, this is the decision you have to go with your heart. And then finally, maybe you're not sure how to get started, so you don't know what action you're supposed to be taking. And then, of course, it's easy to procrastinate because I might sit down on Monday morning and say, yes, I'm going to work on this. And then what on earth do I do? Where do I start? And the same, if I'm doing sort of haphazard scattergun action, that means, I don't really know where I'm focusing. I don't really know what I'm working towards, and I'm not making any progress. So maybe you don't know what you want. You actually don't want to take action. You're relying on your rational mind instead of your emotion, your heart, your intuition, and maybe you're not sure how to get started. And of course, understanding the reasons behind your particular form of procrastination, maybe there's more than one, that will really help you to silence your own excuses and finally take decisive action. So, okay, finally, how to stop procrastinating, because that's why we're here, right? That's what we want to look at, really. And it's all very well to do an intellectual analysis of what procrastination means, but really we want to understand, okay, how can we this time really overcome this and make a massive leap forward, start making progress and start trusting ourselves, start believing in ourselves that we can do this and working towards our goals? Well, if any of these scenarios sounds familiar that I mentioned to you, fear not, there is hope. Because the first step is recognizing that you are procrastinating, of course. So the fact that you know that you're doing it is great, but don't stop there, because you also have to resolve to no longer use that as an excuse. Boom, done. That's just the mindset, but that's so incredibly powerful. So yes, I'm procrastinating, but don't stop there, full stop. I'm procrastinating and I'm determined to do something about it. I am going to take action, and then let's look at how to take action. So, depending on which of those situations or reasons for procrastinating applies to you, there will, of course, be a different solution. So, for example, if you don't know what it is you want, and this will take some time to uncover the true reason behind the procrastination, because it's often hiding a few layers deeper. But if you don't know what you want, then you really need to spend some time exploring. And we talked about this a few weeks ago again. The exploration is the first step you have to take. So hopefully you've done this, but exploring, reflecting on your reasons for wanting to quit your job, and really thinking about what some of the different alternatives might be. Again, why is that important to you? What is your definition of success? That's what I'm always talking about. What is it that's driving you? And what are the options that really speak to you? And how are you going to go about sort of deciding what it is you want to do? So really reflecting on that whole piece, your vision, your definition of success, and what you want from this transition. If you really feel, I know what I want, but I'm just so scared. I feel like I'm not entrepreneurial enough. I'm worried about the money piece. I'm worried about what people will say and so on. Then you need to address those fears head on. And again, in the last few weeks, we talked about how to begin to address at least the fear of failure and so on. So do pop back to those episodes. It involves looking really seriously at what is the worst case scenario, how do you manage the risk of that happening, and what would you do if it did happen? So reducing the risk, but also in case it happens, it might be a tiny risk. What on earth would you do? And then you can really evaluate, is this a risk I'm willing to take? And what can I do to mitigate the risk? And what will I do sort of as a backup plan if it does happen? So addressing your fears head on, if that's the biggest reason why you're not taking action. Then again, if you're like me, if you're super rational, always analysing pros, cons and so on, then you need to get out of your head and start listening to what you know deep down is the right answer. And I'm being a bit facetious because it's not necessarily the right answer to quit your job and go full steam ahead, but only you know what the answer is, right? I can't tell you to do this. It may sound interesting for you to do this. It might not be the right thing for you. I think you know deep down at least if you want to give this a go. And again, we've talked about how it's so important to get out of your comfort zone, sign up to a course, go away for the weekend, say yes to something you wouldn't usually say yes to. Just try to get out of your usual situation, your usual comfort zone, and try to push those boundaries, get inspired, and maybe even, go for a run, have a shower. That's when I get my best ideas as well, when I'm away from the desk. So as much as, again, I can give you lots of exercises and things to sort of work through what's important to you, really the magic happens in the space between actions. So it's in the silence, in the moments of peace, maybe down by the sea, on the beach, or going for a walk in nature. Those are really great ways to really get back in touch with your intuition and silence all that noise around you. And then finally, if you're not sure how to get started, you don't know what action you're supposed to be taking, then of course the next step is to get the help and guidance you need so that you can get started and focus your time, energy and money on the right priorities. And this may also apply if you're further along in the process. You may have already begun to take the first steps. You've started saving money, maybe you've started planning, okay, this is what I think I want to do business-wise, but still you have such limited time alongside your full-time job that you really need to make sure you're using that time effectively. So finding a coach, a mentor, a program that can really support you through that process is obviously going to really save time and energy and help you move way faster. And above all, again, in the context of this week, stop procrastinating. So again, really thinking about what form is procrastination taking. So are you actually procrastinating? What do you think could actually lie beneath the surface there? So what are the real reasons why you're procrastinating? Lack of clarity, fear, not making the right decision based on your gut feel and not knowing what to do. And ultimately, overcoming procrastination really is as easy as resolving to make a change, as I said. And then you just need to take some kind of action to get unstuck and moving. And that's why I'm always talking about that one step. Take one step today. Send an email, call someone, message a coach, get in touch with me for that matter, talk to me about what you're doing. We can get on a consultation call. You can go to onestepoutside.com/clarity call, onestepoutside.com/clarity call, if you'd like to have a chat about where you're heading in your career and what's next. But just take one step up to the plate now, do something. And I promise you that taking action, however small, is going to really give you confidence, create momentum and get the ball rolling. Now, if you are looking to take action, you're determined to stop procrastinating, this is the perfect opportunity for you because we have one of our popular 5-day challenges coming up over in the One Step Outside Facebook group. So it is the Corporate Escape Plan Workshop. There'll be more information about this next week, but I already want to tell you about it now so you can get set up right away. So the Corporate Escape Plan over in the One Step Outside Facebook group. It's a 5-day workshop. Now, when I say 5 days, I should clarify, it's not 5 full days, don't worry. It is 1 hour every evening, plus a little bit of sort of homework that you do between the sessions. It happens 8 o'clock UK time, so British summer time, I guess, at the moment, from Sunday, the 15th of September, we're saying 2019, just in case you're listening to this another time. But don't worry, I'll be repeating this again. So do check it out, even if this is not the right time, in 2019 that you're listening. So starting Sunday the 15th and finishing on Thursday the 19th. And then there'll be lots of other bonus content and videos and things that you can watch in your own time as well. So it's really these 5 live sessions in the group, really exciting group dynamic. I love these because you get such an energy and enthusiasm from everybody who's participating. There'll be homework, there'll be prizes to encourage you to take action. There'll be a scholarship to my programs if that's something you've been considering. That's a really fantastic opportunity. The more you participate, the bigger your chance of winning, which is exciting. And there'll be lots of other bonuses and things as well. And during that time, what we'll do is I'll really help you to pinpoint what you want, or at least if you don't know what you want, how you can begin to go about clarifying that. What's holding you back? In particular, again, in this case of procrastination, what is preventing you from moving forwards? And then to start working on a solution that's going to get you out of your comfort zone and into a place of feeling really inspired and excited about what's happening and beginning to learn things and take action. So really great in the context of this procrastination. Having a plan is the first step. Obviously, we don't want to just stop there. After you've got the plan, you need to move forward and actually execute it. But having the plan is at least the framework that's going to allow you to have something to follow, on those days when you're feeling a bit down and not motivated. As we were talking about last week, having a clear plan and having those consistent steps to take is really, really helpful. So again, the Corporate Escape Plan Workshop going on over in the Facebook group. Again, if the timing isn't working, then still come over to the Facebook group. There's lots of free training sessions. We do a monthly one-night workshop, as it were, on a topic that you guys vote for. We do this every 3 months, I'd say, so quarterly, at least 4 or 5 times a year. We do these 5-day sessions as well. And of course, there are lots of other great resources as well. And most important, you'll meet the like-minded people in the group who are working on reimagining success outside of the 9 to 5. And that's everyone from people who are just at the very beginning of the journey, beginning to consider this change, right through to people who are already setting up their business or have been running the business for a few years and still want to free up time time and step away from the day-to-day of the business and really have that freedom, flexibility and fulfillment that we're always talking about. So the Corporate Escape Plan Workshop, you can sign up at onestepoutside.com/escape. That's onestepoutside.com/escape. And of course, if you come over to the Facebook group, you'll get all the details there as well. But you do need to be registered. I do need your email address so I can send you the workbook, all the details, and so that you'll be eligible for the prizes. So hopefully that's good news to you. We've been going for some weeks now on this topic of leaving the corporate 9 to 5, the things that are holding you back, your fears, lack of clarity, now procrastination. So let's stop procrastinating. Let's commit to making this the moment that you're going to really change your future for the better. I know it's exciting, but just taking little steps, don't worry, not too scary. And let's come along and do this together over in the Facebook group. So again, onestepoutside.com/escape, and I can't wait to see you there. And again, there'll be more details about this next week. So I'll speak to you then. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Reimagining Success with Anna Lundberg. If you're looking for support and encouragement as you begin to reimagine success in your life, then come on over and join us in the One Step Outside Facebook group. You'll find like-minded people who will cheer you on, as well as free training sessions and lots more. To join, visit onestepoutside.com/community or just search for One Step Outside on Facebook. I'll see you over there.